A problem for this country.
Thank you so much for staying tuned to this channel. If you just joined us, this is TMI. Yes, this morning on ITV. It's all about the arrest of former Anambra State Governor Willie Obiano by the EFCC the day the new governor, Chukwuma Charles Soludo Prof, was sworn in that night. It was about, boarding a flight to the U.S. according to a report when he was nabbed by the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission. He was being quizzed about misappropriations of funds running into billions. Among those funds were like security votes and, of course, for projects which, according to the EFCC, is not well documented. As we're talking, to the particular moment, he's still with the Economic and Financial Crimes Commissions. People have been asking questions about this. Some are saying this is political witch hunt. Others are saying it's the right thing to do to serve as deterrence to other governors that may not be able to give or render account of their stewardship. What's your take on this? With me here in the studio, I have a vibrant youth, a political analyst, an entrepreneur. Join me to welcome Theodus Irabo. Theodus, welcome to TMI on this edition. I appreciate your coming.
Thank you very much, Wilson. Good morning, viewers at home.
As very close to him is a vibrant youth, a legal practitioner, political analyst. Join me to welcome Gabriel Ehigato. Gabriel, welcome to TMI on this edition.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
All right. Well, it's been a while since he's been with me in the studio, like, I call it eons of years. Join me to welcome a legal practitioner, a political analyst, political affairs commentator, Barrister Robinson Imade. Welcome to TMI.
Thank you very much.
It's been like how many years now?
So many.
So many years.
Good morning, here.
All right. Theodus, I want to start off with you. When Willie Obiano, the former governor of Anambra State, was picked up by the EFCC on Thursday night, were you surprised at that action, with that action rather?
I was very, very surprised. Reason being that it was the first time that we were seeing such acts. A governor is just handing over, that same night he's being picked up. One would have to question a lot of things. Because as a governor, there's an immunity that is supposed to cover you while you're in office. When was this investigation done? Were you saying that his rights were being abused while he was in office? Or who were the people that petitioned him? But in as much as we would love to even applaud the FCC, because we know what corruption have done to this nation. That is why we are suffering today. It's a right step in the right direction to see that public servants are being held accountable for the time they serve the people. But be that as it may, I want to look at it the other way, because I see this particular arrest as a political witch hunt. Because we've had governors that have left. Even in my state here, we know the number of petitions that have been written against Adam Sochomole.
I would want to go personal right now.
No, that's why I am referring to my state.
Okay.
And I'm a member of the opposition as at then. I knew that we would personally ask that so many vouchers that we brought that they should look at it. Until today, nobody have called him. So how come? Because another person is in the Abga. He has not even left office that same day you are arresting him. That means the EFCC, they've not done what Nigerians will be proud of. Because if you for you to be an institution that people will respect, you will learn how to stand firm. Apply the law to everybody, not to the ruling party. EFCC shouldn't be part of the ruling party. That is not the presidency that determines who they arrest or who they don't arrest. Anytime you serve or anytime you write a petition to the ruling party, it says that they go first to go and meet the presidency to seek, should they arrest this person or should they leave this person? Because our state, we still need to look at so many, even was it not last year when the governor said the water storm project that they need to investigate? Till now, we've not heard anything about that. So we must ensure that whatsoever the FCC is doing, they should ensure they are doing it to both the opposition and to the ruling party. That is the only time we'll see fairness, we'll see equity, and we'll be proud of their action.
All right. Gabriel, he said he was shocked when he got to hear the news, when the news filtered into the atmosphere that Willie Obiano on his way to the U.S. was handpicked by the EFCC. Up till this moment, he's still with the EFCC. He's been quizzed rather, for security votes and, of course, for some other project that they said that was appropriated due to petitions written against him. You talk about petitions also. Take it up from there.
Well, for me, I'm not surprised at all.
You're not surprised?
I'm not surprised because Willie Obiano being on EFCC watch list. As a matter of fact, the EFCC put up a letter, I think dated the 15th day of November 2021, to the Nigerian Immigration Service, corroborating with Nigerian Immigration Service to inform them that whenever Willie Obiano is leaving this country, they should let them know. And that's what happened. A man had dead over, woke up in the morning in Oka as a governor, handed over to his successor, and in less than 6 hours, went to the Mohammed International Airport just to find his way to the US. He was apprehended by the men of EFCC. And they slept on EFCC. EFCC said that night, and the next morning we flew to Abuja. So I think EFCC is just over, they are just over, trying to form, they are really functioning and working. They are overactive, if you look at it. And I listened to the interview of the EFCC spokesman, Winston when he said that although there are no, the offense he has committed is not made public now. The only thing is that he has been indicted of embezzling public funds that have to do with security votes, funds that have to do with that have made for local government and the rest. So let's see what the EFCC is going to achieve. This is not the first time EFCC have been arresting ex-governors. But how come a man just handed over that same day?
Picking up that same day.
It's our system would have developed more than this. But let's see what will happen.
Over to you now, Obarisa Robinson, Imade, handing over that same day, picked up that same day. This should be the first in Nigeria, such is happening. What do you feel about this?
Well, it's to me very exciting. Much as I see with hunting, I cannot but give it to the EFCC. This time around, they have done a very good job. The questions that one should ask are many. Let's take a few of them. Where was Willie Obiano running to the same day that he handed over? Why was he leaving the country? As if he came to do, even if he came to do a business, as a businessman, you rounded off, you were paid that same day, must you run away the same day? I see, what I see is that he was running away. Like he said, which was absolutely correct, the EFCC had published that the man was on their watch list.
As a governor?
As a governor.
So what's the point of immunity, like what you said?
Immunity shields you from civil or criminal prosecution. It does not mean that eyes cannot be on you. Nobody will talk to you, will take you to court for whatever reason while you are governor. And this is what we want our police force, the EFCC, the DSS to do. Keep an eye on this person. Just like he has immunity. By the time he handed over, at the time the Professor Soludo was taking over, or had taken over, the immunity toga was stripped off him. And that's why the man was going away. Wouldn't you even stay a day longer? He knew, he expected it. If we are surprised, it means that we have not been following the trend. The man expected the arrest, he has bought his ticket, okay, and everything. I was told, run away, I want to use, on the same day.
Use the phrase run away.
Run away, yes. At the end of the day, he has been nabbed. Kudos to the EFCC. Whether there is witch hunt or not, yes, absolutely there is witch hunt. Because the former chairman of the APC has told us, told Nigerians, told especially politicians, that if you come to the APC, your sins are forgiven. That's a man, an Igbo, and somebody who any Igbo man will respect, refused to go for the sins to be forgiven by man, by the APC. But again, as a weakling, he thought he could run away. I would have, if I were in such a shoe, I pray I don't go corrupt the way the politicians are, I would stay back and defend my period of stewardship. He was going away from the country on the same day. That's shameful.
Okay.
And that the EFCC caught him just at the part of running away from the country is kudos to them. Except that if it was an APC governor who just handed over,
we'll get to that.
Done the same thing.
Because that is the next question.
Done the same thing. That should not take the fact that it was a job well done for them.
Okay, because that is like, in the line of questions. Now, he said this man in quote, when according to him wanted to run away. After how can you explain you handing over that same day you want to jettison out of the country that same day? Was he really running away from your own analysis?
Obviously, we know that was running away. That is the clear terms. We know politicians, after handover, there are a lot of merrymaking. As the person that just handed over, you still have a lot of respect, a lot of things, especially your party run. And you are the one that did everything to ensure you produce a successor. Naturally, you would have stayed to enjoy all the good food and all the drinks before any other thing. But for you to just leave immediately, and I'm beginning to even think that that drama that the wife played was even also calculated to shift attention so that they can move. Because are you sure about that? No, it can be a strategy. Okay. Because for you to meet Ojukwu wife, that's a strong person in Anambra, which would naturally shift attention. So that even when you guys, because they left while the ceremony was still going on. So I think it was a strategy. But that also put a question mark to his services. Because if you actually know that what you did was right, there's no need running away. Even if you have to go for vacation, why don't you stay for a few days before going? And also because you have been pre-notified that you are under what, that should even make you stay back. You say, okay, let me go see why they want to see me. So I think that's a huge question mark. And let's see what the EFCC have against him.
Huge question mark. But what Bartolomé said, he said, a former chairman said you come to this party, your sins will be forgiven, but the former governor refused to go to that party, hence his sins remains. How do you read that comment? Is it because he refused to decamp, or because it's a typical politically motivated witch hunt against his personality?
Well, in that comes to equity. But comes to chaos. When Obiano running away, I didn't want to target running away, but I think he will explain to us the reason, or explain to EFCC why he was actually leaving the country, because it's historic. The governor handed over in the morning, and in the afternoon he packed his goods, and in the evening by 8:30 p.m. he was arrested. So he will explain that. For the issue of the comment made by the former APC national chairman, I think these are comments that we make when we are politically, motivated by power.
Politically motivated by power.
Yeah, because power is very powerful. Power can make a man drunk, and I think that comment was made by him on the basis of that. But if it were to be in a more developed nature, such a man needed to be questioned for making such comment. Even his party will even debunk that statement, that when you come to the All Progressive Congress, your sins are forgiven. So the All Progressive Congress have now become, quote unquote, an heavenly place, or a place where we attain
where sins are forgiven.
Exactly, where your sins are forgiven. I think it was a very wrong statement, but a statement that wasn't giving much attention. If you were to be giving more attention, maybe the party would have debunked that statement, or there would have been a reinstitution of such a statement. Okay. But whichever ways, the witch hunting of Obiano, yes, there's witch hunting, you can't remove that. But is Obiano hands also clean? Is the question we will know. But time will tell.
No tell. Now back to your assertion when you talk about if you're to be an APC governor, would they have done that to him? Take it up from there.
Of course, the statement of the governor, of the former chairman, was a well thought out statement. He has been vindicated a number of times. There's no way anybody would have queried that, because if you ask me, it was and it remains a statement of fact. Otherwise, why has it not been queried by the EFCC? In spite of, like you said, the plethora of petitions against him. Why were you don't like the mention
of names, no.
Why were so many properties of the man from Bayelsa State returned to him as soon as he joined the APC? Why are there no examples of APC governors who have said that have been quizzed or are being quizzed by the EFCC? There was nothing for the party to debunk, because they probably would have sat down to decide, if they come, we forgive their sins. And we have seen examples of such, even here in Edo State. But when we talk about witch hunt, the question is, like he asked, are the hands of Willie Obiano clean? If the hands are clean, why was he running away? 1. 2, if you listen like I did to his handover address or note, he made in his speech or his handover note, Anambra State became second to none in the country. He only once he made allusion to Rivers State beating Anambra in one aspect. In most of the other aspects,
Anambra was number 1.
Anambra was the best run state in the country. If that was the case, why was he running away? If that was his case, why the haste? After the kind of dance we saw of him, and even his wife, nobody would say he was going for medical checkup. What was the urgency? The truth is that APC has proven to us that is a party that shields, in quote, criminals.
And they wouldn't want to agree to that.
I said they have proven. There were many petitions, like you know, emanating from those state people and outsiders against a governor who said here. Has he been indicted? Was he not celebrated by giving even a bigger position in the party? Why were the person, the property of the person that been found guilty by the court, confiscated, handed over to him, many that will even make a local government glow, and so on and so forth? What happened in Akwa Ibom State? The man that was tagged an uncommon governor now moved to the APC, and nobody talked about him anymore, in spite of all the petitions I know were written against him. So there was nothing for APC to debunk about the statement of the national chairman,
former national chairman,
because it is was a statement of fact. The truth of the matter is that APC, in all its ramifications, has shown to us that it's a party that shields criminals.
Well, hold on. Now this is where I put my foot down. The party will not agree to that because they don't take that direct respect to talk about it. So please let me guarded.
I should really not.
Yes, please.
The party that don't belong.
Yeah.
But look at what is happening in the same party. These 2 steps, 5 steps forward, 10 steps backwards.
Okay.
As far as the national, the chairmanship of the committee, a mere critical committee is concerned.
We'll come to that later. Now you just hold on. I will come back to you. Calm down, Barrister Robinson. Calm down, please. Because maybe like, no, we don't shoot criminals. That is their stand. Let's take a look at the aspect.
They don't shoot criminals, they shoot corrupt politicians.
They'll still disagree to that. So please let me go because I know here said them. So later we'll call them and say, look at what they said about your party. We want to react to that. Since I'm not here, let's leave it at that. Let's take a look at the aspect of security votes. How many governors or ex-governors have been quizzed over security vote issue if it's not a witch hunt according to so many people? Take it up from there.
Yes, I think you've laid the nail at its head, because the truth of the matter, the way they've made security votes is not like a personal fund for the government. Because how can you say the police is not under the state? Meanwhile, you give money to the governor to protect life and property over the arm of government that they don't have control over, that the federal controls. But you also give the government money to manage it. How can you actually control somebody that you don't have full control over, but you have money to control? So there's a lot of, how do I put it now, there's a lot of worries around that sector, because that is why we've been advocating for state policing. If that money is given to the state governor, and the state governor has control over the security architecture of the state, then you can squeeze him and say, oh, how did you spend this money? So right now, security vote is more or less personal fund for the government, and nobody asks them what they do with it.
But still, quizzed for it.
You said?
They were being quizzed for it. They said
that is why people say this is a mere witch hunt, because nobody had ever looked at security vote and said, how did you spend this? The commissioner of police in Anambra complained that he didn't get money. And the DPOs, were they the one that wrote petitions? The insecurity that is happening in Anambra State, is it caused by the governor, or is caused by the agitation of the Igbo people that they are being marginalized. And that is the reason why there is a lot of insecurity, why even money is being expended more on security in the East more than every other part of the country. Because there is a lot of insecurity going on there because of this agitation. There are foremost leader that is pursuing this, they are being oppressed. It's being arrested by the federal government. And because of that, you see every Monday, they declare sit at home. And there's nothing, even as a government, that you can do about it. Because young boys are taking up to fight for this cause for their people. And even you as a state government, they are seen, if you are being seen as supporting the federal, you are even in problem. That is what has been happening in Imo State. Because they see that, oh, we are not in line with their cause. For that reason, you are an enemy to the Igbo people. And funny enough, Anambra State was not that attacked because of the diplomacy the governor using language, the security issues there. So if you are calling him for security vote, I think that is the height of witch-hunt.
What did you do? He said that is the height of witch-hunt because no governor till date has been called to give stewardship on how they withdrew or use security votes. Take it up from there. Say that is the height of it all. Witch-hunt.
Well, first of all, let me make this very clear. Nigerians will be very disappointed in the EFCC if after all of those rascals, the end of the day, we do not have substantive evidence to name winning Obiano. It will be very, very disappointing. Now let's come to the issue of the security vote. The issue of security votes are now become more or less like the pocket money of a governor. Yet we do not operate state policing. So I will question what is not the essence of a security vote. Security vote to governors is what they're now using to oppress other persons. So a governor coming into power, the first thing that has interesting is the security vote, because there is a lot of money for that. A lot of money has been voted for that particular office, and it's very unfortunate. Over time, we have never seen any governor being asked to give account or how he use the security vote. That's the way he said. The commissioner of police never complained. The DPOs never actually complained that they are lacking for. So I see why the issue of security vote is now used as part of the thing used to name Buni Obiano. But I will have the EFCC to make a proper investigation, take their time, bring in other evidence, eventually charge the man to court. And of course, when you also charge it to court, that is another thing. A lot of persons have been charged to court. What is the outcome? The idea you see sometimes is plea bargaining. It must be billions of dollars, billions of naira. I mean, come and play bargain and I tell you to go and bring 200,000. I can imagine a man is being indicted for about 2 billion. At the end of the day, you're asking to bring just 15 million as plea bargaining. That's also another bad system we are operating. But being that as it may, Buni Obiano is already in the EFCC net. EFCC have already taken up the matter. EFCC has already swung into an investigation. EFCC is already telling Nigerians to relax. Let's watch and see. As I said earlier, only time will tell.
Only time will tell. Well, do you think that this investigation by the EFCC will see the light of the day? Don't forget that this is not the first individual in Nigeria the EFCC have called or invited for questioning. Some of them will just go on skits, some of them will just go with a slap on the wrist. I mean, what do you feel about this? Will all this scenario, this macabre dance, see the light of the day at the end of all?
Well, first let me say that security vote is not police vote. Let me also add that security does not start and end with police in the state or in the federation. Perhaps I should mention still that expenditure on security is oftentimes kept secret. I am not aware that part of the reason he is being quizzed is security vote. I think the one that gave prominence was the local government funds.
No, it was there on the pages of the print media. 30 billion security vote that they withdrew it. And they withdrew the money in cash.
Very good.
Security vote.
Does he get 30 billion naira monthly? If he does monthly and he withdrew 30 billion at once, that won't be a problem. But if it's accumulated and he took it at once, then they will ask, why have you not spent this money over time? Why are you taking it now? Maybe at the twilight, perhaps, of his administration. But let us get it right, that security expenditure is not meant to be made public. It also becomes a threat to security itself.
No, they are not making it public.
It is not to say that security vote is not an avenue for the governors to steal public funds. It's always been, because the State House of Assembly, in connivance with the governor, on expectation of largesse for themselves, vote to move those funds as security votes. Nobody has asked anybody, any governor, how such security votes have been expended or spent in the time past. But if a governor like Obiano became so insensitive as to go once withdraw 30 billion naira, of course, that would be closer to money laundering than any other thing. Going to your question as to whether this will, at the end of the day, not be a waste of time, necessary futility, I would say I'm an optimist.
Okay.
If the EFCC has decided to wake up, and they are starting with Willie Obiano, a man who served Anambra State under APGA, it's a welcome development. I don't want you to say no, but I don't believe, my opinion, that APC will win the next presidential election. I don't know who will win. If the other party wins and EFCC still remains a stooge, or decides to remain a stooge to the presidency, let them also quiz this crop of people that are untouchables. At the end of the day, Nigeria will be better for it. It is not to say that I support witch hunting, but nobody that is corrupt should be set free, whether now or later. I am believing that if there's a change of government at the national level, people like the governor, the ex-vice governor here, who mentioned his name, who boasted that APC is a supreme cover, the file should be reopened and they should be quizzed. It's a criminal offense. It can come up at any time. People who have their 70 or more houses returned to them after a court has confiscated them should be revisited. Others who use bullion van in their private homes should be called upon to defend their wealth. I believe that Nigeria must move forward, and if it begins to move forward with Willie Obiano, it is a welcome development.
All right. And before we call it a wrap on this segment, do you see other governors jittering that this was how the EFCC treated Willie Obiano? Should they be wary? Should they be more careful in handling governance?
Obviously, the governors of the ruling party will be drinking right now because they won't feel.
How do you mean? How do you mean? Because they will drinking right now. How?
It's just like in animal farm, they say all animals are equal, but some are more equal than the other. The people in the APC, they are more equal than the others, so they won't be bothered. But the governors in opposition should really have cause to worry, and this should even call for more unity, so that the government at the center to be changed, because we've seen unseen hardship, we've seen corruption being shielded, we've seen poverty in its highest state, we've seen suffering in reality. All we used to see is that, oh, people in Somalia, we are seeing it in Nigeria, first-hand suffering because of this administration. And these people, they just go abroad, they take loan and they share the money, because we don't see all this money they've been borrowing. It goes into private purse and nobody says anything. I saw on social media, they say, Juju really day. APC have shown that Juju day. Because how can you protest over 4 being sold for 87 naira? We were protesting, Nigeria was shut down. Right now we are buying it at 250 quietly. Nobody is saying anything. That will not be Juju. Juju day. So I can tell you today that 2023, all hands must be on deck to see how Nigeria can be restructured, how Nigeria should be put in the right direction. Enough of this corruption, enough of people cowing other people to get what they want, using people as scapegoats to send fear, to make people feel that, oh, if I say anything, I will be arrested, where freedom of speech is now a privilege and no longer a right, where we can see corruption being displayed wealth stolen from the public fund being displayed, and people applaud such persons because they're in one particular practice. It has to stop in 2023.
All right. What is already said, all animals are equal, but some are more equal than the others. A particular set will be drinking champagne, relaxing, while others will be frightened. Should that be the case?
Well, I think you only made that comment because of the way and manner the EFCC have handled issues of corrupt practices, before now. Because there's no way out. EFCC arrest you, investigate, and at the end of the day, just because it belongs to another political party, the issue is being swept under the carpet. Look at the issue of Gosu Akpabio. It was swept under the carpet. And we can go on and mention names.
I want to mention the reasons for that. Themselves, please. Let's be guarded.
So there are a lot of issues of corruption that has come up, and when they defected to the other party, is being swept under the carpet. Well, I'm not an APC spokesman, that I'm a member of the People's Democratic Party, but I'm also of the view of discrediting the APC so long. As long as they are good members of the All Progressive Congress, they are also bad members of the Progressive Congress, also with the PDP. Because we are speaking now, Nigerians have become more wiser. We are seeing that good governance is beyond political party. As we're talking about, there's no electricity, there's no employment, there's no education. Also, I've been on strike over the money now, we are still dragging the issues. So I think 2023 needs to be a better ball game. People need to take the bull by the horn. People need to vote their conscience. People need to overlook the issue that will do with money. And of course, I agree with you that a lot number of Nigerians are very poor. And that is why there are a lot of electoral malpractices. People have to bring in money to buy votes. I agree with you. But 2023 seems to be a better one. Election will be done. People with prudent character who have been tested and trusted will begin to manage our political and governmental system. If not, there's going to be more troubles ahead. There's going to be more sufferings ahead. Because take it or leave it, like it or not. To be very frank, Nigeria is actually in a wave state. At any moment from now, we may fall into a bigger pit. If by 2023, we do not take the bull by the horn.
We're going to have the last take on this discussion segment, Barrister Robinson Imade. If you really want to advise governors, advise the EFCC, even the ruling party and opposition, what would be your advice?
Well, before then, let me say that what is happening in Nigeria has nothing to do with juju. But if we want to say Juju Day, we should say Juju Day in Edo State, where one man will hold the whole college education academy, for example, to ransom the lecturers, the people you don't sack, they are not paying them. Perhaps that one is Juju. Where one man will campaign against agorism in the state and now flood the place. He won't like that as a member of the PDP with Agberos. Perhaps that one is Juju. But as for the country, France Fanon has said that the situation of the country has to be extremely bad before men in their large numbers will come out to oppose the government. We are getting there. Recently, I think yesterday or the day before, the DSS has raised an alarm.
The phrase, not be Juju, be that. Anyway, it's all about good governance. It's all about the people. It's all about making people happy, making Nigerians feel the impact of democracy. 2023 is around the corner. So many intrigues, so many movies right now in quote unfolding in Nigerian political landscape. And of course, they had issues in the APC, they had issues in the PDP. Everywhere you turn around, somewhere or the other, you have an aggrieved member of a particular political party in Nigeria. And you get to hear about litigation in court, you get to hear about a particular sect refusing to follow orders of the so to speak right now, chairman. You get to hear about zoning, the leadership, and all that. Nigerians are like saying, when would all this drama come to an end? Before we talk about this, let's dive into what is happening right now in the APC. About the squabble in the party, which has been resolved in court right now by the reinstatement of Buni. All right, I really want to start a discussion, particular reason from Gabriel Ehigato. There's a reason for that. There's a reason for that. Gabriel,
Yes, sir.
you spoke about this last time.
Yes, sir.
You said for them to have peace in the APC, some things need to be done.
Exactly.
That you don't see Mr. President going back on his word, so to speak. But right now, he has gone back, saying, look, bring back this man for us to have peace. What have you say about that?
Well, I think as a prophet, I spoke last week, and the prophecy I begun the
reality.
Exactly. Exactly. The All Progressive Congress have done the needful. They have heeded to my prophecy by putting their house together, galvanizing their members, making sure that every man put down their tools. The battle for supremacy and political rascality have stopped. I want to respect the governors for heeding to the advice of the president. Because the president stepped in and said, let Buni go back and take over the position, the leadership of the party. Let it conduct the long-awaiting national convention so that we can have a proper excuse of the party. And the governor brought by to it, and they've done that now. All is now set for the national convention. But the issue we have to panic over is the issue that has to do with litigations that are pending in court, that have not been vacated. We just hope that after the convention, issues upon issue, litigation upon litigation, we see arises. Because those matters in court needed to be vacated. But it seems the APC are going ahead with the convention and not giving attention to that. That is a big risk. I see the APC sitting on the keg of gunpowder. So, but let's see what we're going to play out. Biden will go back to office. He has taken over, and he even dissolved the committee that was set by. We'll come to that.
We'll come to that. Okay. We'll come to that. But so always anybody, just hold on. It's not why Mr. Robinson, I mean, with this right now, I believe that Nigerians will now have choices to pick from, in the sense that May Malabuni have been reinstated, and people like saying that for the APC is going to be a smooth sail, but he's picking on the kind of vibe saying litigations, they are still there on the ground. Nobody is doing anything to really vacate those litigations from the courthouses. Take it up from there.
Well, what the APC has just done is cure illegality with executive illegality.
How?
I'll tell you. It is known that the Constitution does not allow a man holding an executive position to, at the same time, hold a political party position. That has been on ground. People have been talking about it. But the APC is not a party that is sensitive to the yearnings of the people. But at the end of the day, the costs are there.
But don't tell that they are sensitive to the yearnings of the people. They'll tell you they are very, very sensitive. That's what they will say.
It is not what they will say now.
Yeah.
The truth remains the truth, even when nobody believes it. That's on the one hand. On the other hand, I do not see this illegal resolution being an uhuru for the APC. Even after the discussion, El-Rufai has not said that he's satisfied. He sent text messages to all the governors complaining, the APC governors. And of course, he was the one who came out to say that Buhari has instructed or was in support of the removal of Buni. So we have the APC going around in circles. For me, the resolution just now is not victory for anybody. Even the Buni, who said that when he was leaving for Dubai for medical tourism, that is transmitted, we have not seen that transmission, passed to the Niger State governor, came back and said by that whatever the man did while he was in charge, the brief period he was in charge, he would endorse. But like he mentioned, you are aware that he has dissolved the committees, the subcommittees that the man set up. You are aware that the next meeting that was supposed to hold as called by the Niger State governor has been put off. If you have put that off, the dissolved committee, how do you reconcile your saying, oh, I transmitted powers to him, whatever he did in my absence, I will endorse. So there is confusion, more confusion, and much more confusion in the APC as far as this caretaker extraordinary committee is concerned. But at the end of the day, I'm sure Nigerians will be better for it. Okay. Let them pose themselves to a tight corner where they cannot come out. And let this very beautiful administration that has brought so much hardship to Nigeria go.
I'll come back to you, Barrister Robinson, Imade. Well, to you now, Architect Fairness, you've been waiting for your turn. Now is your turn. What do you feel about all this?
I think this is what I always say. We say I want to start correcting issues.
Yeah.
When you are addressing issues, and you know where there is problems, stop bringing the PDP into it. PDP did their convention in less than 3 months. And it was at the aspiration of the 7 national chairman before. Okay, let's leave the issue of PDP. The APC have gotten it wrong since last year, and nobody is saying anything. For the new INEC law, for you to, if you are holding a party position, any position, you must resign to even contest the election. How can a city governor be managing the affairs of a party? That is an illegality. When Oshomole was removed as the party chairman, the next person that would have just stepped in naturally is the vice chairman. That is where the PDP is different from the APC. Party is different from governance. The president is not the head of the party. He was a member of the party before he was elected. The party should have manifesto. They should have their own constitution that governs it. We should stop celebrating strong individuals. We should build strong institutions. And we have seen that with the PDP. There is board of trustees that resolve issues that have to do with national executive. Where is the APC board of trustees? Who are the people managing the affairs of the executive? There is none. And this is the same confusion that have caused Nigeria all these pains and sorrow. Because they think they act before thinking. How can a president just wake up before traveling to UK to say, that man is no longer the national chairman, you are not the national chairman, I'm leaving. EFCC seal up that place. This is DSS seal up that place. That is not how to run political party. After creating that problem, it was a pit. You just threw the party into a pit. Oh, you now saw there was no way around. There was no way around. They called me, come and meet me in UK. Okay, you are going back. You'll be the next chairman. Right now, he's back. What of all the litigation that are there? What you are saying today that they are planning convert is just in architecture, we call it window dressing. We are just trying to window dressing. We are just trying to do cosmetic finish. We have not solved the crack on the walls. Like your house have a major crack. Instead of you to go and resolve it from the foundation, do an underpinning. That would be a permanent solution. What you are doing is cracking the wall and dressing it so that it will look fine and you paint it. Meanwhile, the decay is still there. All right. What they are doing is, President INEC have released timetable. By April 1st, it says a fund for PDP would have elapsed. And they are proposing the March 26th for their convention. Meaning, if they were to be in PDP, they will have 4 days to print form, to quickly do interaction, which is not possible. Let's see how they will manage their process, which Nigeria are praying that they don't come out so that they can just pack their load. Nigerians are praying or PDP is praying. The whole country are celebrating this crisis in the country. This can happen. Yeah. Let's just say bye-bye.
Don't forget that also PDP, they have their own issue. We'll come to those states. Go to Osun State. We'll come to that later.
About national. I know. That's it on your tongue. We have conflict. Okay, fine. We are talking about the party.
I love your passion for your party, seriously. Just hold on. Now, from what Barrister Robinson Imade said, he said the party is not sensitive to Nigerians' plight, which I really object to because they will not agree to that. So I say that, look, though is bad, but also we're not sensitive. Now, if you take a look at what you rightly said, illegality versus illegality, do you see any party cashing in on this to at least deal a major blow on the APC June 2023 election? Do you see it happening? Because of what you said, talk about the INEC constitution. And office holders are supposed to be in a particular position. Do you see a party working to that tenaciously to wrestle power from the ruling party?
Election sometimes can be very unpredictable.
Yes.
And I don't know what to agree with these two gentlemen. The All Progressive Congress is having a bad day. And every political party can actually be in this mess that the All Progressive Congress is. It can be PDP tomorrow, it can be AGA, it can be AA.
Yeah.
But it's unfortunate that the APC are the one in it now. Just like he said, and as I said last week, that a little event that's doing like a litmus test have now evaporated to a bigger ball game. And that's what the APC is swimming in. And those who needed to have salvaged the party are interested in supremacy. Who is the greatest among us? That is what is happening in the APC. But however, 2023, any political party that want to take over power from the APC at the national level must also be ready. Must also make sure that the house are also well solid. Because what we also see in the PDP, there are also issues of battle for supremacy. The political personnel, they are also flying their muscles. You know, also trying to take over the party. So even the PDP are also looking very serious, with due respect, quote unquote. They're also looking very serious in wresting power from the APC. But let's see what is going to happen after the convention. Let's see what is going to happen when campaign, fully started, because the little working in Nigeria, as I'm free going to say, is an election campaign for 2023. Nothing else is working in this country now. The little working.
You cannot say nothing else is working.
No,
They may not agree to it.
That's true. When I read this morning, you could see the long queue. On Sunday, many people want to be in church, but they are queuing for fuel. Nothing is working. By tomorrow morning, also, I see on strike, the students will not go back to their university. Nothing is working. So the only thing working now is the campaign.
Something is working.
Yes, something is working.
Something is working.
That's the only thing working. Yeah. So 2023 is going to be a different ball game. And I think I salute the courage of the Nigerian youth. I could see youth vying for position, just like my brother here. Who want to take the book by the horn? Who is telling us that no more 60 and 70 and 80 years and above political personnel. The youth needs to take over. They said the leaders of tomorrow. We are the leaders of tomorrow. Now the leaders of tomorrow need to start today. Because from today you cannot see tomorrow. So, be that achievement. Whosoever wants to power from APC must also be ready to pay the price. And what is paying the price? Put your hands together. Give us a candidate that is well respected, a candidate that knows what he's doing, not the candidate that will come up and we will be spending our money on medical vacations. Bring a better candidate that can overturn this country for good. That's what we want.
On one hand, you are here, on the other hand, you are there. I just wonder, where are you really? Where are you really? Now, from what he said, he talked about litigations. I mean, right now, APC is like on course to conduct, hold their conventions, primaries, and the rest of them. Do you see litigation stopping them from holding their convention? Then after that, the primaries, because of what is really going on, going by INEC rules and regulation. Barrister Robinson, you're a legal practitioner from that angle.
The APC may just be lucky. I think the convention is March 26th.
Yeah.
What's today's date? A few days away. I'm sure that the convention will hold. How effective the outcome will be is what I cannot say just now. But let me make this point that it was not by fiat that the president said, oh, remove Buni, put in the other fellow. I know that 13 APC governors met and sacked Buni. And to give credence to that, El-Rufai came out to say, we are solidly behind
Bello.
Abubakar.
Yeah.
Okay. And our own very close governor here, Rotimi Akeredolu, mentioned, and I heard him say so, that those governors who were at the time with Buni were at best Yahoo governors.
Yeah, he said on the papers, yeah. He said it on the papers, yes.
And if he is today with Buni because the ties were against them, as Wari rightly said, has he become a Yahoo governor? Would he have, by that statement, become a Yahoo governor? The problem with APC is so severe. Like Wiki said, is a party that had cancer. And he said his own party had malaria is treatable. But malaria kills so many people every day. So it is possible if the PDP actually has malaria, that the PDP may even die before the elections. And the cancer patient with chemotherapy and the others may survive. But I don't think seriously that the APC wants to survive. By the same carelessness and core responsibility, I don't want to say responsibility.
Yeah.
They lost Zamfara, they lost Rivers, they lost many other
states.
And the way they are going now, litigation, the courts are there, the court will be watching. If the right things are not done, INEC is not a member of the APC. Whatever you presented to INEC, they work with. It is for the court to say this is wrong and this is right. So at the end of the day, even though INEC has said it's Buni that we recognize, if Buni was put there wrongly, the court will say so, and that will invalidate whatever efforts of the APC. So the courts are always there, watching, and unless you come to the courts, it will not do anything or do anything. But if you come to them and say, oh, okay, this is what you are saying, let us look at the law. Whatever the law favors. APC has lost 1, 2, 3 states in the past due to recklessness, and they are now going into the proper election, the presidential election, without curing that defect. So litigations must come, and the court must take its decision. And I don't see the APC surviving this.
All right. He talked about all political parties being ready to wrestle power from the APC. Do you think that the opposition, they are ready, knowing fully well also they have issues?
Okay, I think I want to first of all quickly join my Oga here to talk about the APC. They are going for convention, and we know each of the states, most of them, they have 2 chairmen, 3 chairmen. Which fraction is going for that convention? Which side are they going to recognize? Because there are a lot of camps, a lot of litigation that, and the rightful chairman, this one said this. Which camp is going there? Are we going to be having 66 states there? Because we have each state to be producing more than 2 executives at that convention. But it's going to be an interesting convention. And I know I'll be glued to my TV watching whatsoever that plays out. But when we are talking about parties having issues, I really want us to look at it. Which issues is the PDP having at the national, running for the presidential election? Our major concern right now as Nigerian is how to rescue Nigeria come 2023. And we have put our house in order with a new executive, with a youth leader that is truly youthful, that is just in his 25. We have women leaders that are set. We have an experienced party chairman that is there, that is ready to pilot the affairs.
And we have these problems also in various states in Nigeria about the PDP. I want to because before talking about the federal, so take a look at the states.
Yes, on the state.
These are constituents.
Okay, on the state issue, yes. Can you tell me any state in Nigeria right now where the PDP have 2 executives? Please just mention one state where we have litigation or who is the actual state working committee. Mention one state. There's none. PDP is a party.
Hold on, you react to that. Let him finish. You react to that. Let him finish.
That follows the constitution, that knows what party is all about. Not a group of gangsters coming together to
I take an exception to that.
People don't call the gangsters on the street that want power. Did I mention any name? I say it's not a group of touts coming together to say, we want to be this, we want to be this, without following guidelines.
Okay.
That is why they will always run foul of INEC guidelines.
Okay.
Because there's no structure per se that can actually say, oh, this is how parties run, and there are people managing the process.
Okay.
The national chairman is contesting for the national leader is contesting for presidency. How can you have a party where the person that should monitor the affairs of the party also a candidate? Who listens to who? These are issues.
All right, I think that's come back.
This is time for Nigeria to look inward.
Okay, I'll come back to you.
An orderly party that can bring orderly.
Please stop rubbing it in. I'll come back to you. Hold on, that's what you're doing right now. You're rubbing it in. Come on, calm down. Over to you, Gabriel.
Yes, sir.
He said in PDP, because I'm taking a look at both parties, everything is smooth sales, okay?
Yeah.
They know what they are doing. He said, mention one state that has issues in PDP.
Two state working committee.
You said mention any state.
Yes, I have 2 states.
So please take it up from there.
Well, I think this just try to be very political.
Yeah.
And it's expected of him as a member of People Democratic Party,
Yeah.
and as a person who has flagged up.
No, let's not happen of him because some chapters.
He can speak on that.
So please let's not go there.
But the PDP is not also a perfect party. It's just an issue of Kento calling pot black.
Kento calling pot black.
Exactly. The PDP also have his own rebels here and there. I don't want to venture into what's happening in those states currently.
Okay.
And in fact, among the governors, there's also battle for supremacy. So the PDP is not also on a clean slate as he's trying to also paint at all. No. As I said earlier, sir, any party that is ready to take over power from the ruling party must also put their house to order. If not, there will also be more issues. And the way it is even going, I'm also not very sure that at the end of the day, we are going to have a president or a governor that will come into power by court judgment. By court judgment, because there will be a lot of litigations. We cannot run away from that. And it is because we have not, as people, or probably as politicians or our political party, put our house in order and do the needful. I don't want to trust the PDP now that, or give that, that prevention that PDP will win the 2023 general election. No, because PDP also have their own undoing now that's currently going. And only God knows if it will also metamorphose into what have happened to the APC.
All right.
But only time we actually tell. And let's watch and see.
I know you have so much to say about his comment saying that no states in Nigeria is able to debate. Calm down, brothers. After this bill, we continue with this discussion. It's getting more and more interesting. One is rubbing it in, saying yes, one party is superior or is ready to wrestle power. Do you think that is the case? Don't forget about the squad between 2 governors, the South, and the rest of them. Anyway, we'll come back and talk more about this. Don't go away. We'll be right back. It's all about governance, all about politics, all about, things that are happening in those political parties. And as I have my guest here with me in the studio, we're about to call it a wrap on this segment. Barrister Robinson, you heard the assertion of Theodore. He said, look, he painted a party to be the perfect bride. And through the challenge that if you can mention 1 or 2 states in Nigeria that has issues when you talk about hierarchy, when you talk about structure, and I'll leave it for you to take it up from there. Yeah.
Well, before talking about the PDP, let me also try to chip in a word for the APC.
Yeah.
It is, he said it was an anathema for the party leader to want to contest presidential election. Let us make it clear that in the APC constitution, there is no office of the party leader. The highest office in the APC constitution is the party chairman, national chairman. Because they don't have a national chairman just now. Nothing stops the so-called party leader from contesting the presidential election. Not the constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, not the constitution of the APC. Let us see the APC is a problem for APC to solve. Of course, if a man has so much wealth and at the age, almost in his last years in life, certainly, let this be an opportunity and avenue for him to throw the wealth at people. I want him to contest. I won't want him to win, but let him also
Seriously, Barrister?
as possible.
Barrister, remember, okay, fine, you just continue. Yeah.
I'm able to speak freely because I neither belong to the APC or PDP or any political party whatsoever. I'm a legal practitioner and a farmer. That's where it ends. Talking about this challenge, mention 1, 2 or more states of the PDP where you have
parallel state working committee. Yes.
I don't know 2-3 states in the APC that have 2-3 working committees. The APC.
The APC.
No, the PDP, yeah?
APC,
I mean, okay.
Where they have 2-3 parallel working committees. But in the APC, I know a state where the deputy governor has come on national television to say that he didn't feel a member of the party that brought him to power. In the PDP, I know of a state where the deputy governor has come up to say that he joined the party only because of another person, that he would not ordinarily have loved to be a member of the PDP. I think that's a strong statement. I'm very much on the statement of the second person, citizen of the state. I also know of a state ruled by the PDP where the government will prefer that the landlords they met should vacate their sitting rooms and bedrooms for them to take over because they are defected. I know of a PDP state where the governor, on the day he was sworn in, having won the election, told the world that, look, I've read the constitution of the PDP cover to cover. I know I'm not the leader of the party. I think that was so presumptuous. I also know of at least 2 states in the PDP where the governors are with due respect, I'm not mentioning the state, shamelessly washing their dirty linens in public. I know of a PDP governor that has been described as having a DNA of
Betrayal.
More betrayal, and what again?
More betrayal.
As you like it. So all is not well with the PDP. I also know of a PDP where a particular governor, a strong governor, is a loggerhead with very many, not less than 5 very strong party members, those that have capacity to decide the future of the party. I know in the PDP we have a governor who came to power and has been, they say education is light. That's one that's carrying war on his head all through his period of reign in quotes. I know of a state in the PDP where the governor has come on board and is destroying the educational institutions he met, making promises, this one will take off on this date, mentioning 1, 2 or more days, and they are not taking off. I know that all is done well with the PDP, but I'm sure, very sure, that pieced together the PDP and the APC today, the party that is likely to be more stable, that is likely to have the sympathy, more of the sympathy of Nigerians, is the PDP. It is not to say that all is well with the PDP. It is not at all to say that all is well with the PDP. One single state, such as I have described, is capable of bringing PDP to disrepute.
All right. Does that clear the air right now, Theodus?
It doesn't, because...
Okay, hold on. What is happening in Osun State? What's happening in Edo State? What's happening in Rivers State? These are the flashpoints of this tumult, so to speak, in the PDP. I just mentioned the states. So let's leave it at that. So you wouldn't want to paint a picture that all is rosy and all is well. In these 2 political parties, Nigerians will not be happy if I don't even mention these states. Now they know. They still want to stand by your word.
Of course. Because the politician, this is the point. I challenge on which state have parallel executive, which you have not been able to debunk. The truth of the matter is that no matter how perfect you are, you must have, I have little back pain. And what we have is not party problems. What we have is individual problems.
And that cannot escalate to
Excuse me. Parallel executive in the state will not be a serious problem even to APC. Why? Because at the end of the day, I'll let you know why. Okay. At the end of the day, the convention committee will decide on which parallel that they recognize.
Okay, and when you're about, let me come in now. That is for convention. When you're about to say party form, when you're about to say form to a candidate,
the exclusive problem of the APC.
That is what we are saying. sir, there are some places
I can go to the chairman of.
Don't worry. All right. Let him at the end of the day, yes, we have a lot of Zamfara state to inherit. We have a lot of other states to inherit after this general election. Let's leave it at that. It's not that problem. We pray that the crisis continue so that we can just sit down. Which party? So at the end of the day,
you will not lose your own state.
We have not gotten there. Let's leave the issue. All right, we can't leave the state. Our state, our party in the state is intact. All we have is just some issues that will be resolved. Okay. A committee will be set up to that effect. All right. Lots of very soon will come out. In the last week, you had a lot of public outbursts between two governors. But after the next meeting, hold on. Apologies. That is how a political party is run. So you can what, but the ability for you to settle in less than a week. Yeah. That is what is.
So you do not agree to the fact that all is not well in the political party just now.
That is all political parties. What we are saying with the APC is about party structure, not individuals having issues. Individuals make a structure. No, individuals doesn't make up the structure. Let me tell you this. They are running for election right now. General election is around the corner. Sales of presidential form is on this. These are interests. If I have interest, as I have interest to contest, I could offend anybody because it's interest at that point. That have not affected PDP. The prevention I'm calling with you because we are running for the same office doesn't have business to do with the PDP. What we are saying is the APC have their own issue. We are not talking about the ones that they will kill themselves later for the ticket. And the PDP don't have that issue. And the PDP don't have that issue. Tell us. No, yes, we have issue of controlling fires. Let's leave it like that. Issues of controlling factors. Gentlemen, for tickets. Gentlemen, thank you. Issues.
Thank you. You have 1 minute each to summarize your point. 1 minute each. Because as it stands right now, no party is free. You get to hear tantrums here and there. This is talking, the one is talking. It's all about ego, according to Nigerians. It's all about prove or show of power for superiority. It's all about this is my state. Stay or face your state, and that can really affect the nation if you take a look at it from all angles. You get to hear about governors saying, look, I'm the one here. All the things you've done when we were having this issue have been nullified, your committee nullified. Yes, it's happening. You get to hear about you're a bully, you get to hear you're a betrayer. So you see, it's like, it's just making Nigeria just watch them and say, what is really going on? 2023 is fast approaching, and like what you said is the beauty of it all. So gentlemen, 1 minute, it's tell us the 1 minute.
Okay, I would love to start with Edo State issues.
Yeah.
Last 3 days, there is a court judgment on harmonization, and all worried parties will be that. And be that as it may, the national have set up a committee that will also look at how we live harmoniously together. Okay. Like that. But on my own, my 1 minute, I want to use it to appeal to Nigerian youth. Voters registration is still ongoing. The only way to change government is when you have your PVC. Okay. The only way to vote for your liberation, the only way to vote for prosperity, the only way to change the long queues in filling stations, the only way to end ASO strike is when you have your PVC. Please go and register for PVC. Let's send
Thank you. Don't go beyond that. Let us calm down. Don't go beyond that. Please just go get a PVC ended there. Over to you now, Gabriel. 1 minute.
Well, the way to have campaigned for himself, I just hope the party give him ticket. Because, yes, exactly. Because when a politician is in power, he speaks for himself and good governance. But when a politician is out of power, become an activist, become a critic. And so let's just hope that they give to the ticket. Let's not put it did that as it may. 2023 is already behind the corner. Yeah. And all hands must be on desk. The citizens are becoming more enlightened. The citizens are becoming more exposed. Get your PVC. Just as my friend have advised. Let's use the PVC. The only power we have as a commoner, as massive, is to have that PVC. Use it to do the needful. By voting the government you want. There's nothing in the government you can trust. Because the way the Nigerian political terrain is, you can actually know these politicians so well. They can change they are like Armenians. They can change by any time they want to. But with that PVC, you can secure to some extent. Trust some persons, they probably must have been tested and vote them into power. So 2022 is a very serious affair.
Okay.
And we do not need to hold it with a backhand.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Gabriel. Barrister Robinson, 1 minute.
Well, what is there to be said? Nigerians know better. We have always seen long queues, even before this administration. We have always, we're almost used to ASU strike, I must say. It's been a recurring decimal. But perhaps the most we should tell the Nigerian voter is that we must be able to hold parties and candidates by their manifestos. If it is true that the APC promised, Buhari and his APC promised that 1 naira will become $1, if it is true that Buhari and his people, protested when petrol was removed from 86 naira, and it is now 200 and something naira, even when you say it will be 40 naira per liter. If it is true that no refinery has been built, even when you said you build one refinery every year, if it is true that as we speak, Buhari is in London medical tourism, when he said he will never do that.
I think he's back now. Medical checkup, please. Not tourism, it's checkup, please. Let's be guarded.
He
Yes.
said he must be treated here, he will make hospitals work. If it is true that no Nigerian jobless person has received 5,000 naira per month as he promised, then Nigerians should know that this time around we should do better.
Thank you. Thank you so much, gentlemen. I appreciate a wonderful analysis. Tell us, please, but we're not campaigning now, please. We're not campaigning now, please. When you heard them, it's only about your PVC. Go get your PVC. Because politicians may quarrel today, the best of friends tomorrow. And for what is happening right now, I want to please advise you, don't kill yourself for any politician. Go to Kenya. Raila Odinga, Uhuru Kenyatta, they were loggerhead with each other at each other's throats. Thousands died because of them. Today, they are best of pals. If you take a look at history in Nigerian politics, persons died because of politicians. And the politicians right now, they are best of friends. Don't say I belong to PDP. Don't say I belong to APC. Don't say I belong to A. Don't say I belong to B. Do your part. Get your PVC. Do not kill yourself for any politician, okay? You have your life to live. Gentlemen, I appreciate your analysis. Thank you so much for coming to grace this occasion when we talk about discussions of political issues. I thank each and every one of you. Thank you so much for coming. Well, their opinion, theirs, but still they did their best to follow rules and regulations governing the airwaves. And I really appreciate you sitting by to watch, to listen. I keep getting feedbacks every Sunday. I'm so impressed. I thank you. Thank you for being a part of it. ITV is 25. Yeah, join us to celebrate. Celebrate with us. It's not been easy. God has been there for us. See you next week Sunday, God willing. Bye for now.